group. And this is going to be a fireside chat with Iris Wagstaff. I'm sorry, Dr. Iris Wagstaff, about the work that AAAS has been doing around HBCUs and the new initiative that they are working on alongside Microsoft. And so I will turn it over to Iris to kind of get started and kind of give you a little bit of background around AAAS and the previous work that they've done with HBCUs.
Thank you, Janaea. So first of all, welcome. Hope you all can hear me well. Let me know if there are any issues hearing me. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. We really just wanted to just share this work, and elicit your support and engagement from the HBCU community. But I'm Iris Wagstaff. I'm a STEM program director at the AAAS. I am a research chemist by training, as well as a STEM education researcher. I spent 15 years in the chemical industry at Dow Chemical, leading analytical project teams, as well as leading DEI efforts to broaden participation in the chemical sciences. Because of my 2 decades of work of outreach in the community, spent many years developing informal science programs, resourcing K-12 teachers, really working with community partners like churches and libraries and science centers to really help our K-12 students and undergraduate students just really build that that diverse pipeline of STEM talent. I then transitioned to STEM education, research, and policy. And my research there focused on examining factors that predict motivation in STEM. So science identity, science self-efficacy, STEM career intent, and sense of belonging in STEM. So I'm fully in the STEM ed researcher space at this moment. So prior to joining the AAAS, I was a AAAS Science and Technology Policy Fellow, where I served at the DOJ National Institute of Justice, where I developed their first agency-wide diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative to broaden participation in the forensic sciences. So now I'm currently at the AAAS, where I lead a portfolio of initiatives really focused on broadening participation, specifically for undergraduate and graduate STEM researchers who are underrepresented minorities in STEM. So that is my portfolio. We'll dive in deep with our specific HBCU innovation efforts. So that's a little bit about me. And then I'll just share a little bit about the AAAS next. So the American Association for the Advancement of Science, or AAAS, is actually the oldest and largest general scientific organization in the world. Founded in the 1800s, we have over 100,000 members worldwide. And while our mission is pretty simple, it's huge. And that's simply to advance science, engineering, and innovation throughout the world for the benefit of all people. Not an easy task. So we have a number of strategic goals that actually guide this mission. And the 2 goals that really relate to our work are advancing scientific excellence and achievement, and fostering equity and inclusion for scientific excellence. I do want to acknowledge our amazing CEO, Sudhir Parikh, who's also from North Carolina, like myself, but he's been a huge proponent and supporter of our HBCU innovation efforts. And our work is the only HBCU focused work being done at the AAAS. I also want to acknowledge the amazing Gilda Barabino, who serves as our board chair, as well as Dr. Willie May, who's at Morgan State, but he is currently our AAAS president, and in a couple of weeks, he'll be our immediate past president. So I just want to share a little bit about our broader work, involved with HBCU innovation, and that's strengthening an inclusive innovation ecosystem through a community of practice. And we started this work in 2017. It's been funded by the National Science Foundation since 2017. And I do just want to pause and acknowledge Dr. Quincy Brown, who actually brought this work initially to the AAAS. And we're just glad that we've been able to, expand and extend and scale that work since 2017. But kind of high level overall, we are really focused on advancing innovation capacity at HBCUs in the specific areas of research, technology, entrepreneurship, and invention. So yeah, just want to acknowledge the National Science Foundation HBCU undergraduate program for continuing to support this work, and specifically Dr. Carlita Page Anderson, Dr. Joyce Belcher, as well as Dr. James Moore. So just a little bit about the multiple components of this broader, umbrella of HBCU innovation. So since 2018, we have supported and engaged over 400 HBCU students and faculty. We have a cohort of 32 HBCUs that we've worked very closely with since 2018. And as a part of this work, our cohorts led by students, HBCU students have addressed 12 of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. I'll talk a little bit about that next. And we provided over 100 professional development, mentoring, and coaching sessions to HBCU students and faculty to aid in advancing this HBCU innovation capacity. So one huge component of our efforts is our annual HBCU Innovation Showcase. This year, our showcase will be held from September 25th to the 27th here in Washington, D.C. Hopefully the weather will be better. It won't be 18 degrees and snow on the ground. But we will be actually launching the call for those applications on Monday, February 3rd. So just a little bit about one of these key components, the showcase specifically. We send a call to all 100 plus HBCUs to actually put together a team led by 4 to 5 students along with an advisor. And they're tasked with building a prototype or innovation based on one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And if you're not familiar with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, they are 17 goals that basically pretty much address improving quality of life. So eradicating hunger, poverty, renewable energy, those types of things. And while this is a guiding framework, we are very intentional about really encouraging these students to address issues that they care about. Like, what do you care about in your community? What is it that you want to improve? Just really thinking about like the local level and improving their like local surroundings in addition to this guiding framework. A part of this cohort, when we select that cohort, it's not just coming to a conference, right? It's not just an event. This is actually a year long, and we've added 2 years of continued support. So all through the year, as they are working on their prototypes and innovations, we have them meeting with Black innovators, our amazing advisory board members, those members from our community of practice. They receive e-mentoring, they receive training, they engage in relationship building. In addition to the prize money that's awarded to first, second, and third place winners at the showcase, they also participate, students and faculty, again, in PD sessions, learning about grant resources, collaboration opportunities, crowdsourcing, all of those things that you really need to sustain and scale these efforts. And again, with this year, we're starting a second year of support for our 2024 cohort. And I just do want to take this time to acknowledge one of our partners that actually supports our innovation showcase each year, and that's Demetria Gallagher at VentureWell and the VentureWell team. We partner with them specifically to provide opportunities like faculty mini grants to HBCU faculty, fellowships for HBCU students in the area of innovation, as well as training opportunities. So there's a lot on this slide. So I just want to kind of give a high level summary of the multiple components, that we've been working on since 2018 as a part of this broader umbrella of HBCU innovation and building that capacity. This year, we will be developing and launching a call for applications to select an HBCU research team to really work with us to take the lead in this work on advancing innovation capacity. We are also launching our HBCU Faculty Innovation Leadership Institute. We will be having an HBCU Innovation Listening Session, either late spring, early summer. We launched our Impact Study Report last year, and then we have a number of students focused efforts that we'll be launching this year that include a student innovation internship. Those of you that have opportunities for students, definitely please connect us so that we can make sure that we're placing students with prime and valuable opportunities. We are also launching our student innovation ambassadorship and choosing from our student alumni to really help them develop their leadership skills on their campus and to serve as ambassadors to move this work forward, not only on their campuses, but in their local communities. We are also curating an HB Innovation Resource Toolkit that we'll be sharing. We'd love for you all in the HBCU community to help, contribute to these resources that we want to share broadly. And again, continuing our mentoring in PD throughout the year. So I just want to touch on, what is this, inclusive innovation community of practice? We have curated a number of amazing partners that include not only students and faculty, but industry, our advisory board members, our federal partners, and Black innovators that take time out of their busy schedules to really work one-on-one with HBC students and faculty. So based on this, broader umbrella of HBCU innovation that we've been leading since 2017, we, identified one specific area that we really wanted to scale and extend, and that is the area of tech transfer at HBCUs. So this represented a great opportunity once we met the team at Microsoft, because it was just in alignment with the work that they are doing. So this, identifying, tech transfer is one critical piece that we feel like is the next level to move HBCUs to the place that we think HBCUs have just a prime opportunity to lead in. And that led to first meeting the Microsoft team during the CBC annual leadership conference. And then that led to this grant opportunity and partnership with Microsoft. So I will pause here because we have Jared Brown on. I'll pause here to see if he has any words or would like to, share anything on behalf of Microsoft and the team.
Sure. Thank you so much, Iris. And it's so wonderful to see so many familiar faces in the room. I see Brittany is in the building, and also Dr. Williams. So it's wonderful to see you both. And also, I didn't know if another special guest, Jasmine Thomas, who heads our higher education policy strategy here at Microsoft, will be able to join, but I do see that she's online. So great, Jasmine, to have you in the house as well. Brief introduction. So I'm Jared Brown, again, from Microsoft's higher education policy team. And we are a small but mighty team, really focusing on our work to advance our talent policy strategy, which is really grounded in broadening enrollment, graduation, and participation of talent across emerging tech areas, as well as a focus on strengthening the research and innovation ecosystem. All of that clearly aligning really well with the work that we're doing with AAAS and the commercializer in terms of our broader tech transfer and commercialization strategy. I think that as we transition into a new administration, really a new era in many ways, that we're looking forward to exploring just winning coalition models to advance the shared interest of HBCUs, which is why this project I know the survey that Janaea is going to talk about and the outcomes are so important in terms of really communicating and advocating for policies writ large, but specifically a centralized tech transfer office for HBCUs. So really looking forward to the conversation today. Really grateful to Iris and Janaea for the invitation. And I think this is the point in the agenda where I pass it over to you, Janaea.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, my name is Janaea Griffin. I'm the CEO of the Commercializer. This work, well, let me just say this. So I'm an HBCU grad, graduated from the Grambling State University. So if there's any Graham fam that's on the call. And then I got my start at NASA, actually. So working in tech transfer, as a contractor there. And once I left NASA, decided to start a company that really focused on tech transfer, which is what I was doing for NASA, and getting it into our community, because I saw that, there were ways to have alternative sources of revenue. There was IP that was being generated at our universities and our institutions that may not have been being shared. And so when I saw that AAAS put out this work, I was super excited. I think I met Iris, I don't even know what year it was, but back when Quincy was actually, her and Quincy actually started this, doing the HBCU Making an Innovation Showcase. We had a tech transfer panel there to talk about best practices with a lot of, excuse me, the institutions and the researchers that have already been participating in tech transfer and commercialization. And so our relationship kind of just grew from there. But we have had conversations for years about this particular focus in terms of how can we advance tech transfer at HBCUs? What does this look like? I know that there is a community where we've all kind of been trying to figure out what this work means and how can we get it across the board to all of our HBCUs, especially the ones who are looking to advance into R1 status or even R2 status for that matter. And so we decided that in order to build out this model, right? So when AAAS pushed out, hey, we're looking for a consultant to come in and help us build out a model and a design for what a national office for HBCUs would look like around tech transfer and innovation. We put together a team. And so the project website that you see that is on the slide, that is the website that you can actually go to for the landing page where you can actually access the survey. But the survey is just one part and really the first phase. We want to get the voice of the customer as we are looking to design this framework and this model that will be able to be used across all HBCUs. We want to know, maybe it's not a national office, maybe it's a regional office, maybe it is resources that are being pushed out, but what does that resource look like? What are the challenges that you all might be facing at your institutions? What are some of the areas where AAAS and Microsoft may even be able to support to get you to that position to where you may then be able to start having tech transfer activity? So if you could, and if you have not already taken the survey, the QR code actually takes you directly to the assessment. It will be out until Friday, so we have 2 days. And then once we do the survey, we are going to have a focus group. So we've been working very closely with the 1890, excuse me, with the 1890 Foundation to have a tech transfer symposium. And at that symposium, we will be having a focus group that is available. And so if you take the survey, you'll get asked the question on if you would like to participate or not. And then we'll send out more information around that. But once we have collected all of the data, we'll analyze that data and then be able to put that into a report where we will also use that data to inform what the design of this office will actually look like. Whether, like I said, whether it's a national office, whether it's a regional cluster, whether it's a hub, whether it's a full resource, we are looking for you all to actually help us to inform and provide us with those insights. So it's not just another survey just to take for us to put out a report. This is going to lead to actual actionable steps that can be taken and resources that you will be able to access right away. Yeah, so I think that we've gotten to the point now where we really want to kind of dive in into asking some questions to Iris around just the work that she's been doing. And Iris, I think, one, you shared a lot of great insights around the work that AAAS has done, and more specifically, the grants that you've been involved with and have been leading as a principal investigator. One of the things that really stood out to me was the impact that you guys have had for HBCUs, not just with faculty and researchers, but also with students and the surrounding community by collaborating with other organizations. How does this work align with AAAS's broader mission and goals in STEM? And what does this look like for the future?
Yeah, we're tasked with, developing, curating the next generation, of STEM professionals. And while the AAAS has mainly been focused on PhD, level sciences, and again, let me just mention the structure. So we are on the nonprofit side of AAAS. So AAAS has a for-profit side, which is membership and publication. So most people that are aware of AAAS know about Science Magazine, right? So, but we are on the nonprofit side, which is the programmatic side. So our unit, which literally focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion and broadening participation, not just for underrepresented minorities, but women, gender diversity, sexual orientation diversity, supporting students in STEM with disabilities. So broadly, broadening, participation in the STEM field. So again, those strategic priorities that I mentioned are 100% aligned in advancing scientific excellence, advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion, right, among, and especially this next generation, of STEM professionals. I mean, we know from the census data and statistics that the minority will be the majority by 2030, which is not far away. So, it behooves us to really, be thoughtful and intentional and purposeful about not only acknowledging diverse talent, but enacting those pathways and those pipelines to really support the diversity and talent, because we have some challenging problems to solve and we need to engage all of our human capital, right? So especially those like myself and those of us who have been disenfranchised and discouraged from scientific pursuit. So not only should we be participating in these areas, we should be leading in these areas. And we feel like HBCUs are fruitful ground because we've taken, the least, right, the least supported. HBCUs graduate a high number of minorities in the STEM professions who go on to get graduate degrees, but they get their training and support at the undergraduate level at HBCUs and go on to do great and amazing work. So we've known for decades, the amazing work that HBCUs have done with the least funding, with very few federal resources and state resources. So we feel like HBCUs really are fertile ground to lead this work, not just to be invited to workshops and invited to conferences, but we feel like HBCUs should be taking the lead in this work.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree, not just because I'm an HBCU grad, but I know that, sometimes there are missed opportunities when you're not looking in the spaces, that really are truly innovative, have diverse talent, diversity of thought, experience, background. And that can actually help with a lot of what's going on with national security and different things like that. So definitely agree. I want to kind of get into, the motivations, your motivations behind obviously working with HBCUs. but also AAAS's motivations, right? I know you kind of touched on that a little bit, but could you talk about like, you talked about the HBCU Making an Innovation Showcase. You talked about the impact that you've had on the researchers and the students. What specifically made you think about or really start to target technology transfer and innovation as a focus point to go after funding for?
Yeah, just based on, we work closely with the 32 HBCUs that have been in our cohort from 2017, and we were just based on their input and feedback, this is an area that's underdeveloped and that, has, huge potential for not really just supporting one HBCU or 30 HBCUs, but we really wanted to identify what needs to be in place, right? What are the models? What's already existing? What are the gaps and challenges in it? Really making something lasting, right? At a high level that can be sustainable for the next 20, 30 years, right? So that it doesn't just impact those 32 HBCUs in our cohort, in our program, but that it serves as a resource for all, 100 plus HBCUs. And, a resource where they can tap into, what this center may look like, whether it's a hub, like you said, whether it's regional, regional hubs that feed into a backbone national center. But we want this to be a resource where any HBCU, whether you're an A&T, and shout out, I'm an Aggie, Aggie Pride, whether you're an A&T or whether you're a Philander Smith, which we've had great, we can highlight some amazing teams from Philander Smith. Like they've come a long way since 2018, and they're competing on the level of an A&T or an Howard, right, that has a lot more money and resources. But whether you're at A&T or Philander Smith, you can tap into this resource no matter where you are along that continuum, right? And not only receive resources, but contribute to, like, we're looking at HBCUs as the experts. Like, we are not the experts. So we want this to be like a two-way street. We want you to actually contribute to, whatever this center looks like as well.
And, how have HBCUs responded to the work so far? I know we keep talking about the impact, but are there any standout examples or success stories that you'd like to highlight, or anything that you'd like to share that, HBCUs have really started to discuss with you more about?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just highlight the teams from Philander Smith. I mean, our staff can drop, we have an impact video and an impact report that we can drop in the chat, but just like a Philander Smith who really struggled starting on, and, just felt like they couldn't compete with the larger schools. So we were very intentional about reaching out to the diversity, even within the 100 plus HBCUs, right? So the rural schools, the smaller schools, right? Really to support those schools that don't have maker spaces and entrepreneurship centers and VPs of research, and don't have offices of sponsored grants, and sponsored research projects. But yeah, I'll just lift the team at Philander Smith, really, who's won at least 2 or 3 times over the last few years, but just to see their growth, that they are now mentoring other students. And, one of the students, Sam Davis, we invited to serve on our advisory board. He's doing amazing work at Google now. So I'll just mention him, but we definitely can just highlight those type schools, because though that is what we're trying to do, like, is reach the diversity within those 100 plus schools, and especially the rural schools that don't get resources and opportunities. But yeah, so they've gone a long way, and they're mentoring the next generation of teams and cohorts, and their faculty as well. So again, one of the pieces I mentioned was this Faculty Innovation Leadership Institute to really equip faculty, because it's not just about students, it's about helping to seed faculty research, and really to support them with mini grants and training and other leadership opportunities as well.
And I know we only have time for a couple of other questions, but one of the things that I do want to ask is, while this new initiative is still in development, right? We haven't kind of gotten to the end point of it. We're midway through. how do you envision it building on the work that's already been done?
Yeah, again, this partnership with Microsoft fills a critical gap, in the work that we've been doing since 2018. Again, just this whole focus on tech transfer really not only expands the work that we've laid a foundation for, it really takes this work to the next level, because that is something that we identified as a gap in our own programming, right? That we really wanted to have an impact in this area. And again, beyond these current projects, beyond our current cohort, we are looking like 20 years, 30 years down the road. So we feel like, this partnership has the opportunity to first like identify what the challenges are, identify, what is needed, really hear from the
Mhm.
HBCU community, and then design a model that will inform, what it takes and what is needed for a viable national tech transfer center.
And my last question is, what are your hopes for the future of technology transfer and innovation at HBCUs?
I would say there's several components. So there's a whole, for students, there's a whole training development piece. For faculty, we envision serving as a resource to help faculty, because I was an HBCU faculty as well. So,
Mhm.
especially if you're at a teaching university. So we hear from faculty, HBCU faculty, they have high teaching loads, right? They don't get a chance for PD and training opportunities. They don't have time to write the big NSF grants like we have a whole team to do. So there's that student development training piece for the next generation. And then there's a faculty professional development piece. Those are the things that I think are lasting. And then there's a whole like mentoring component, right? That this just has happened naturally as a part of this work. But we feel like the advancing the tech transfer piece, and just really informing like what needs to be done to create like something like this. Like, I feel like that those opportunities are endless, with
Mhm.
that type of work. And I feel like the impact is endless.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think, the impact is something that will trickle down, right? Not just with the institutions, but also with the surrounding communities. When we start talking about um, being the benchmarks for what intellectual property and commercialization looks like, what research and development looks like, inventions, innovations, right, coming out of our institutions, and how that will start to begin to change our culture when it comes to how we innovate and then how we monetize those innovations, which will then allow us to invest back into our communities. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
definitely in
I didn't even
agreement with
touch
you. Go
on the
ahead.
policy piece or the economic
Yeah.
piece, but
Yeah.
yes, we see HBCUs as, levers in, in this global, in this global economy. So there's a
Mhm.
whole, I could talk an hour about that, but yeah, that definitely is the ultimate goal, because the country needs us, the world needs us. So yeah, that is our view of just the potential of this work.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing the background, your story, and information about it. I do want to open up the floor to a couple of questions if we have any, and then we can move on to our special announcement. Claire, do we have any questions that were dropped in?
I don't see any yet.
And feel free to come off the screen. Are they able to come on to ask questions at all?
Yeah. I think at the same time, this would be a great time, Pam, to drop the survey link in the chat. We also have the QR code here. So while we're waiting for any questions, this would be a great opportunity. We would love for you all to complete the survey. So our team is dropping the survey link in the chat, and there's also a QR code on the screen. And then we will follow up after this webinar to send you the survey link as well. So we would love to hear from you. You are the community that we want to hear from.
Yeah, and if you've already taken the survey, or if you have questions about it, please feel free to reach out to us. Iris's email is on there as well. You can reach out to me at janae@commercializer.co. And then also, please feel free to share this, right? Sharing is caring, and it takes a village in order to get things done. So we're really looking to be able to have this spread across the HBCU community. We've already kind of tapped in with a lot of our partners that have been sharing this. So you may see this coming from different organizations that are participating as well.
And while we're waiting for any questions, feel free to introduce yourselves. We love to learn about you and find out who you are joining us. So go ahead and feel free to introduce yourselves while we're waiting for any questions and while others are completing the survey. Thank you, Ron, one of our amazing board members. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. But feel free. I mean, this is a friendly group, so
No,
feel free to introduce yourselves.
okay, yeah, I just wanted to come off mute. I apologize for being off camera for most of the time, but I was in transit. So, but no, I really wanted to come on and want to introduce myself, but also just to commend you and your team for this effort, not only the work that you've always done, but for this effort in particular. So I'm Ron Williams. I am a member of the advisory board. I have been at Coppin State University in the heart of West Baltimore for the past 29 years now. And I am a business school guy. So I'm usually one of a few, if not the only business school person at some of these convenings. But there's a great need. Baltimore is a city with 2 HBCUs, but very different. Maryland is a state with 4 HBCUs, but all very different. So we are a smaller teaching institution, very community facing on the west side of Baltimore. Of course, Morgan on the other side of town is very large and much more robust, building a medical school and aspiring to be an R1 research institution. But the role that we play and what we do is absolutely vital in terms of applied research and influencing policy. We have an effort, it's still underway, to introduce tech transfer and commercialization of IP to our faculty. We are developing a series of professional development webinars for our faculty to introduce them to the whole concept, even as there are efforts to build up our sponsored research office and to build some infrastructure that would help to support it. So I just wanted to introduce myself, commend you on the effort, and looking forward to continuing to participate. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ron. Anybody else?
Hi, everyone. Devin Corbin. I lead the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at United Negro College Fund. I wanted to know, what is your target audience as far as sharing the survey out? Did you want more faculty? Did you want more, students, or what's the target audience?
So I will actually take that question, Devin. Thank you so much. I was actually going to share that. So this is right on time.
Okay.
So the survey is for anybody that is associated with an HBCU currently right now. So faculty, staff, administrators, and students can all take the survey.
Okay.
And I think just to even add a little bit more kind of around that, we're really looking to get the insights around perspectives about tech transfer and commercialization, if they're knowledgeable about it, if they're doing any research, like the types of research that they're doing as well. So really, that's why we kind of are asking everybody, because we know students are also involved in research. You have graduate students, you have the administrators who, maybe need to know about tech transfer and what is going on, what type of benefits there are to it, just kind of what their perceptions are of technology transfer, especially if we're thinking about types of resources and support to provide to them. Some may believe that they can't do tech transfer, or it's not something that they want to do, because maybe they're just not as educated on the benefits for them. So we're kind of just trying to understand and pull out those threads to see, to actually help to inform the type of resources and support that we'll be able to provide in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or introductions?
I'll jump on. I'm Asha Farah. I am a Howard University alum. I'm also the co-founder of a fintech called Reducify. We're an accountability platform to reduce student loan debt by utilizing the 6-month grace period for HBCU student loan borrowers. So we're looking to increase the financial wealth building opportunity for HBCU graduates.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. I know you've been engaging with our LinkedIn posts and different things like that. So definitely we'll be in contact with you to see how, this could actually fit into, what may, happen with tech transfer and commercialization in the future, especially if you're thinking about starting a new company or business or different things from the research and commercializing that. So absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Last time? Going once, going twice.
I can introduce myself as well, because I'm in the room. Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm from Columbia University in New York, and I'm the Associate Director for Alliance Management. And some of the work that we've sort of been doing is really trying to broaden the participation and the academic partners that we sort of developed for our research initiatives throughout the nation and throughout the world. And so what better place than HBCUs? I love working with y'all so much. It's so incredible. And so I'm very happy to be here to listen and understand what's sort of happening in the space. So thank you for allowing me in the space. It's been great. Very excited about the work that you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. All right, so I know that we wanted to, one, kind of leave a little bit of time for you all to take the survey or even share it. The other thing I think we want to highlight is that we do want to give y'all lunch for the folks who do complete the survey. So if you are able to complete the survey and you get all the way to the end, we will send you a gift card, a $25 gift card, so that you can have lunch on us. Again, like I said, once you get to the end of the survey, there will be an opportunity to ask if you want to participate in one-on-one interviews, in a focus group. That will be at the HBCU T2 Symposium. Or if you just want to give further insights about what's going on. And so we'll be able to follow up with you after that. And for those that do complete it, we'll be able to send out that gift card so you can have some lunch. Are there any other questions? Or Iris, do you want to kind of close us out?
Sure. I just want to, thank you all. I think we have enough links in the chat, so I'll stop sharing my screen. Thank you all again for taking time out of your busy schedules. We know everybody is very busy, so we value your time. It is important to us that you took time out to join us. So thank you all for joining us. Please, please share this work with your networks, share the survey with your networks. After the webinar, we'll also send another survey just about this webinar, just to find out your thoughts, if it was informative, and it will give you an opportunity to continue to engage with us throughout this year and really learn more about this effort and all of our efforts to become, part of our community of practice. So we are inviting you to become part of that community of practice. So you will hear from us. So I'll just pause now again to see if Jared or Jasmine had any closing words or thoughts.
Nope, I think I'm all good. Reiterating the thanks. It was a great conversation, and I was great to participate. So thanks again, Iris and Janaea, for the invitation, and it was wonderful to connect with everyone.
And thank you for supporting this effort. It would not be possible without you and Jasmine. So thank you so much for investing in this critically important work and transformative work. I saw Ty rejoin us. Ty participated in our showcase this year. Did you have any